How's it going, everyone? Now, firstly, I'd like to congratulate Jeff, Rick, Peter, London Worms, and finally Scoop Science. Congratulations, guys. You were the 5 winners from the seed competition. So I've already mailed those off, so they should be arriving pretty soon, and I hope that kale grows really well for you. Now, my worms have been doing absolutely brilliantly. They've doubled in numbers, and they seem to be really healthy and happy. And when it comes to feeding your worms, I know that different people use different methods. But I just thought I might make a quick video showing you guys how I feed my worms. So I do that by making a smoothie. So that way the food scraps that you use, it gets broken down into a much smaller size. They can eat it much faster. So we'll hop into the shed and I'll show you guys how I make it. Then I'll show you later in the video how I feed them. So here it is, some food scraps that I use to make my sort of worm smoothie with. So it's just some old like broccoli, carrot tops, potato skins, tea leaves, just some zucchini ends, carrot skin, silver beet ribs, just pretty much anything, like anything organic and that doesn't have any chemicals in it is fine. So like I just use one of these little blenders. There's some water in the bottom that just helps to blend it up nicely. So I just easily chuck it all in. Just squish it down. Just put the blade on. Just let it blend up. That's where you might just need some more water, so I'll just quickly grab some water. And there we go, just add some more water. There we go, so that is basically it. That's what it looks like. It looks pretty delicious, doesn't it? So we'll go over there and I'll just show you how I feed the worms. So this is the worm farm at the moment. Just move the cloths there. And so as you can see, there's heaps of castings. Like they're all just the castings there. So they're building up heaps. But generally what you want to do when you feed them is feed them on one half. So I've been feeding them just on one half, and so I just simply pour it on and then just spread it out a bit. I just use cloth or stick something to spread it out a bit, and then you just want to put some soil or casting something just back on. They just feel a bit more comfortable doing that. But that way you feed them on one half and then the castings will build up on the other half. So you might not be able to see from the camera, but it is actually, this side is actually a bit higher by 1 centimeter or 2 than the other half. So there you go, guys, that's how I feed my worms. Now I give them that every 2 to 3 days, just that size. But as they get bigger and the population gets increased, I'll end up probably feeding them once a day, probably almost double that size really. It just depends on how many worms you have. You just give them more, the more numbers they have, and you sort of just get to figure out how long it takes them to just eat it all. But other than that, that really is how simple it is to feed worms. I like that method because, you know, the smaller the size of the food scraps you give them, the faster they eat it. So that way it doesn't rot in their home and just doesn't get all smelly and unhygienic for them. So they seem to be loving that, and so I'll just continue with it. But if you like that video, please leave a big thumbs up, and if you have any comments, suggestions or questions for me, leave them in the comments box below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that so you keep updated with what's going on my channel. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll catch you next time.